Most people think buying a sailboat is a dream come true, but what if that upfront price only covers half the real cost? Survey fees, hidden taxes, and relentless maintenance can burn through $8,000 to $12,000 a year, even before the first major repair. Miss these hidden traps and your dream boat can turn into a relentless financial drain. Do you really know what you are signing up for? The moment a buyer agrees on a sailboat's price, a second, invisible bill starts to grow. Professional surveys are the first surprise. These inspections, required by lenders and insurers, range from $500 to $2,000 depending on the boat's size and complexity. Skipping this step is not an option. A missed defect can mean tens of thousands of dollars lost. Then come the taxes. In states like California, buyers can face a sales tax of up to 11.25%, instantly adding thousands to the total. Even in lower tax regions, 5% of the purchase price is common. That is not negotiable, and it is due before you ever set sail. Transport is another overlooked expense. Moving a boat from the seller's dock to your home marina can cost $1,000 to $5,000 or more, especially if professional overland transport or a captain is needed. Buyers who import a boat face import duties or value-added tax that can exceed 10% of the vessel's price, often a shock for those eyeing bargains from overseas listings. Registration and documentation fees add another layer. Annual registration typically runs $30 to $500, but some states charge additional excise taxes based on the boat's value. Coast Guard documentation, required for larger boats or offshore cruising, brings its own set of fees. Before the first maintenance bill arrives, the real cost of acquisition has already ballooned. For many buyers, the sticker price ends up covering just 50 to 60% of the true initial outlay. The cash gap between dream and reality opens wide the moment the contract is signed. Maintenance is where the financial reality of sailboat ownership settles in. Every year, the bills return, steady, often rising, and rarely optional. The industry rule is blunt. Expect to spend 10 to 15% of your boat's value annually just to keep it seaworthy. For an $80,000 hull, that is $8,000 to $12,000 each year, whether you are sailing every weekend or docked for months. Haul-outs are unavoidable. Most yards require boats to be lifted from the water every 18 to 36 months for bottom paint and inspection. Each haul-out, with labor and materials, runs $2,000 to $4,000. Skipping it invites barnacle growth, hull blisters, and corrosion, problems that multiply quietly until they demand much larger repairs. Zinc anodes, the sacrificial metals that protect your underwater gear from corrosion, need replacement every year or two. Ignore them, and you risk losing props, shafts, or even the rudder to galvanic decay. Routine engine servicing, such as oil changes, filters, and impellers, adds hundreds more annually. Rigging inspections, often required by insurers, can uncover frayed cables or cracked fittings that must be replaced to avoid catastrophic failure at sea. Add in sail repairs, safety equipment checks, and the inevitable small fixes, leaky hatches, worn lines, and faulty electronics. These costs do not wait for your schedule or savings to catch up. Over a decade, a modest sailboat racks up maintenance bills that can match or exceed its original price. The annual drain is relentless, and for owners who try to cut corners, deferred maintenance only sets the stage for far more expensive surprises down the line. Rotten deck cores are the silent killer of older sailboats. Beneath the fiberglass, water seeps through poorly sealed fittings and turns balsa or plywood cores into a soft, crumbling mess. Owners often do not notice until the deck feels spongy underfoot, or a surveyor's hammer reveals a hollow thud. By then, repairs can run from $10,000 to $50,000, especially if the rot spreads under stanchions or the mast base. The only fix is to cut away the fiberglass, dig out the soaked core, and rebuild, a labor-intensive and invasive process that is never cheap. Osmosis is another threat lurking below the waterline. When water penetrates the hull's gel coat, it forms blisters that can look harmless at first. Advanced osmosis means structural damage and delamination, not just cosmetic blemishes. Full repairs require grinding away layers of fiberglass, drying the hull for weeks, and applying new epoxy barriers. The bill often lands between $15,000 and $40,000. Even so, boats with a history of osmosis can lose resale value regardless of repairs. Bulkhead tabbing failures and mast step issues add to the list. When the fiberglass that bonds the interior walls to the hull breaks down, structural integrity is compromised. Fixing this means cutting and reglassing, with costs easily reaching $8,000 to $20,000. A failing mast step, where the mast meets the hull, demands reinforcement and sometimes requires the deck to be opened up. No insurance policy covers deferred maintenance. Eddie, a marine diesel mechanic with 30 years of experience, puts it bluntly. If you are buying a boat with an old engine, budget for a full rebuild or replacement. A basic overhaul runs $6,000 to $12,000. If parts are obsolete, you are looking at $15,000 or more for a new engine and installation. For many buyers, the engine becomes a time bomb, one that can explode into five-figure invoices with little warning. Safety gear is not an optional upgrade. It is a legal and practical requirement for every sailboat, no matter the age or condition. Outfitting a vessel for offshore passage starts with a life raft, which alone costs between $8,000 and $15,000 for a new certified unit. Regulations and insurance policies demand regular inspection and repacking, adding $1,500 to $3,000 every decade. An EPIR-B, the emergency beacon that can save lives in a disaster, carries a price tag of $1,500 to $3,000. Storm sails, sea anchors, medical kits, and emergency steering systems add thousands more, pushing the total for safety gear well above $10,000 for most cruising boats. These expenses are not one-time purchases. They require periodic replacement and certification, enforced by both law and insurers. Marina fees represent another layer of unavoidable expense, dictated entirely by geography and local demand. In secondary harbors, slip fees start at $100 to $300 a month, but in major coastal cities, prices quickly climb to $1,500 or more per month. Annual costs for a 40-foot boat can range from $3,600 in a modest port to over $18,000 in a high-demand marina. Dry storage offers a cheaper alternative, but each launch and haul-out adds $200 to $500 per event. In hurricane-prone regions, marinas may require mandatory haul-outs during storm season, with bills for a single event reaching $2,000 or more. Winter storage in northern climates adds $600 to $2,000 per season, even for owners who rarely use their boats during the colder months. These are costs that cannot be negotiated away. They come with the territory, and they arrive on schedule year after year. Tom bought his 38-foot cruiser with a plan. He would spend $20,000 upgrading electronics and rigging, then sail for years without worry. But the first estimate ballooned as soon as work began. The chart plotter he wanted needed new wiring, and the autopilot required a stronger mounting bracket. Each fix revealed another weak link. By the time the radar, wind instruments, and backup systems were installed, his electronics bill had topped $35,000. Rigging, quoted at $10,000, jumped to $18,000 after surveyors found hidden corrosion. Tom's total upgrade costs passed $55,000, more than double his original budget. The dream of a simple refit had vanished, replaced by a string of urgent invoices and mounting stress. Sailboats rarely reward upgrades at resale. Even major investments, new electronics, fresh sails, or a rebuilt engine, do not guarantee a higher selling price. Depreciation is relentless. Most production sailboats lose 30 to 50% of their value within 5 years, regardless of improvements. 3 identical Beneteau 40s, each with different maintenance histories, sold for $215,000, $155,000, and $95,000, showing how unpredictable the used market can be. Annual ownership costs for a 40-foot boat typically run between $39,000 and $79,500 per year, when factoring in maintenance, insurance, mooring, and depreciation. The numbers leave little room for illusions. Upgrades are a sunk cost, not an investment. Marina, a certified marine surveyor, brings a practiced eye to every inspection. Her checklist is strict. Soft decks, unserviceable engines, missing records. Any of these can be a deal breaker. Surveys cost $500 to $2,000, but walking away from a boat needing repairs worth half of its value is the only smart move. Today, every marina is filled with stories of dreams blindsided by costs nobody warned about. As boat prices climb and maintenance outpaces inflation, due diligence is not optional. It is survival. In sailing, ignorance is the most expensive line item. What is your real number? Share your experience below.